Not too long ago, Debbie Bull, our guest today, talked about equipment that should be part of camping, and she showed us the reflector oven and she showed us the Dutch oven. But I thought a lot of people actually don't know how to cook with them, and so Debbie is back with us, and she is a junior at Iowa State. And you just finished getting the fire just about ready to the spot to work with the reflector oven.
Right. One of the things with a reflector fire is that you want bright flames because the whole point is that the fire and the heat reflects off the inside, and you can see how the oven is built so that it reflects. And one thing it's easy to do is to build your fire down, and then you want to back up here. This can be done in several ways. You can take 2 sticks and stretch aluminum foil across here, or you can take 2 sticks and stack green logs up, or another reflector oven. Variety of things. You can get by without any of these other methods by just keeping a high enough, hot enough fire here. But you do have to be careful that when you don't have your reflector back here, that you may have to adjust the distance that your oven is to your fire or move your fire a little bit because it can get too hot.
And then it burns without
Right.
cooking. Without cooking it on the interior. Now this reflector oven looks a little tiny bit different than some of the others.
Right, this oven is moved just by the handle on top, and many ovens, which I'll show you one later, has a lid that lifts up in the back so that you can reach in from behind to turn your pan around instead of having to either move your oven out or reach in front of the fire and turn your pan.
Mm-hmm. All right, now you're going to fix some cornbread.
Right.
Is this a mix, or did you make it yourself, or does it really make any difference?
It doesn't really make any difference. I find it easier to mix all the dry ingredients at home, and then when you're out camping, you can mix the other ingredients that would make it moist in, and then you've got it all ready to put on, and it's all pre-measured.
Now you're using one of the Teflon pans that you have out of your camping equipment set, I think.
Right. I like the Teflon pans just because they're easy to clean.
And this is cornbread. I don't know whether we said that or not.
Hopefully it's cornbread.
That's what it starts out. It might be
right.
mush.
It's supposed to be. And then you just, I think I'm going to move this out to take it out, slip it in, and then you set your oven back in. Now we'll have to build the fire back up so that there's flame shooting up so that it'll be reflecting.
Debbie, how long does it take to cook?
Well, it's kind of hard to say because every time you use a reflector oven or a Dutch oven, the temperature fire is always going to be a little bit different. The reflection may not be the same. Wind will do strange things. You kind of have to watch it. And when you read your recipes at home or camping or whatever, it'll tell you what to look for, like a golden brown crust, and you use your knife just like you would at home to stick it in the middle. And I'd say this will probably take about half an hour.
And so now it should brown in the same, to a certain extent, like it does in the oven.
Right. It should look just exactly as it does if you take it out of your oven at home completed.
Now, are you going to ever have to turn this one around within the oven?
Right. When you're cooking like this, especially without a reflector on this side, you need to keep turning it because you don't want to get this side will become dunner on the bottom where it's closer to the fire, where the other side will tend to cook faster on top. And you need to keep turning it. It will also help keep it level.
And what does one do with such bees that drop
Yes,
in?
I noticed. Well, there's chocolate-covered ants and chocolate-covered bees. We'll have a cornbread-covered
Cornbread-covered
bee.
Right. You keep feeding the fire.
Right. You want to keep a flame. This is a fairly good flame. It can be varying degrees of higher or not. This one is almost too close, but because of the confines of the fireplace, we can't really move either one. Ideally, it should be about, the main part of the fire should be right about here.
Mm-hmm. Now, you can't do this with charcoal, can you?
This is hard to do with charcoal. I've never been able to because you need a flame, but you can use the Dutch oven, which I'll show you later, can be done with charcoal.
Needless to say, we've had about a 15-minute intermission here, but while the cornbread is baked. And Debbie, it now looks like it's about done.
Right. And just like you do at home to test it, You stick your knife down in the middle, and since I can't get in from the back of this, I'm just going to lift it out. This protects hands from getting burned, which can ruin lots of camping trips. I think it's done. I think it looks like it's done.
I think it does too, and it looks good.
Oh, there's the finished product.
And then you just, of course, cut it and serve it. Now, if you needed something very quickly in the oven, you could set it on at the side and keep it warm until the time.
Right.
And keep it into the, but as long as it stayed there, if you didn't have any little kids. Now, one thing that we wanted to check, let me reach this, and this was the other reflector oven, wasn't it?
Right, this is another type. It's a little more sturdy, and this one is nice in terms of it won't fall apart on you because it's made to stay like this. This one is collapsible so that it folds up into just a small box, and it's easier for carrying, for backpacking, and just general camping, where this one is a little more cumbersome.
Yes. Now, this one will fold up into this size box. So.
Right.
But...
and it's a little bit larger. It gives you a little more surface area to put your pan in here. Maybe I can show you by comparison. I'll just sort of, you can get your pan further in, which allows for a little evener baking.
And you did, we should say that you did for a minute or two put some aluminum up to reflect into this particular fire, but I think that would, can be done depending upon the situation that you have to deal with. And we thank Debbie very much, Debbie Bull. She's a junior at Iowa State, and this is the work with the reflector oven. Now we will be moving on for one now of the Dutch oven, but that'll have to wait as far as you're concerned until tomorrow.